During Holy Week, I get nostalgic for my time when I lived in Israel as a seminarian, and I start to play through in my mind the different places that I had been to and traveled and seen, and I don't take that gift lightly for granted. It was a precious opportunity to walk where the Lord walked and to be literally in the history. You don't read about it, you walk through it. One of the things, you see so many things, but one of the things that I caught a picture of it and it really stuck in my mind was an aqueduct. These great big things built by the Romans. They were incredible. Some of them, in fact, are still carrying water today. 2,500 years. Some of them are almost 2,500 years old, still working. And you see these things, and you realize not only the feat of engineering, but also you think about what they do. That water that's falling in the mountains miles away, collected, gathered, and then transported through the aqueduct to get to somebody. Somebody's going to drink that water. Some animal is going to be nourished from that water. Some plants and agriculture are going to thrive because of the water. But the key in this is the aqueduct is just a conduit, a canal, a channel. It's not the water. The aqueduct does two things. It receives the water into it and gives the water to another. Receiving, giving. This is the mystery of Holy Thursday. These two ideas of receiving and giving. Here's Jesus, Last Supper. He's got his disciples around. In the context of Passover, they celebrate the great feast of deliverance of the people of Israel. They are in bondage and they are freed by God's mighty hand. And the blood of a lamb that's put over the lintel and down the doorposts protects the people of Israel as the angel of death passes through. The blood of a lamb sets them free. And here's Jesus, as they're recalling this great story of deliverance, taking that bread, and he defines it. This is my body. Now, they don't know that body is going to get broken in just a few short hours. And they don't know yet that body is going to be wounded and mocked and ridiculed and abandoned in just a few hours. They don't know. They don't quite understand. But then after he tells them what it is, he says, take it and eat. And then he takes that cup. He holds it up. He says, this is my blood. He defines it again. Remember the blood of the Lamb? And when John the Baptist saw Jesus the first time, he said, behold the Lamb of God. And Jesus says, as he holds that cup, this is my blood. He defines it and then commands, take and drink. That in the eating and drinking of the Lord's body and blood, defined by him, commanded by him, we receive him. That in the reception of Holy Communion, in the reception of body and blood, soul and divinity, Jesus Christ himself, Christ comes into us. He comes into our hearts. He comes into our lives. He feeds us. He nourishes us. It's his grace in our hearts. It's his love in our lives. We receive from him. But then when the meal is done, he's not finished teaching. The master, the teacher, people wait on the master. But Jesus throws the whole thing away and he does this example. We're going to see it. I remember the first time as a kid I went to Holy Thursday and I saw my priest wash the feet of 12 parishioners and I went, ew. And I said it about that loud. My mother was embarrassed. Because my parish priest, we treated him with great respect. He's a great guy. And the thing is, here's our older priest getting down on his knee to wash the feet of parishioners. It taught me more about what Jesus was trying to convey just seeing it. And that's why we do it. Because Jesus gets down on his knees, the teacher, the master, the Messiah, the Lord, and he shows them a clear example. If I, the teacher, do this, you got to do this. You got to give your lives. You got to serve. Because your life is a gift. Share the gift. Your life is a blessing. Be a blessing. Your life has meaning and purpose and power. Allow that power, which comes from God, we receive it, to go through our hearts into the world, to make a difference for the lives the Lord places in front of us today. Be a gift. Be a blessing. That the Lord's life and grace and love flow through us. That the blood of the Lamb that protected the people of Israel is now the blood of the Lamb of God that flows through our veins so that we have strength and we have the power to serve and love one another in His example. The aqueduct is just a channel. It comes alive when it receives and gives. Can you imagine that? An aqueduct that doesn't have anything in it can't give anything. But an aqueduct that just receives and never gives, that water turns stale. You need both. We need the grace of Jesus, and He knew it. Take and eat, take and drink. We need Him in our hearts. If He's not in our hearts, what are we giving? But then He said, I want you to serve. I want your life, a gift from me, to go out and be a gift to others. Friends, tonight, we're going to take His teaching and we're going to remember that what happens at the altar gets lived out beyond the doors. That when we need strength, we come to Jesus. We need grace, we come to Jesus. We receive Him, body and blood, soul and divinity, in the sacrament at the altar, so that we can be a sacrament in the world. A sacrament of love, life, healing, grace, and joy. If there's something tonight that you need in your heart, tonight would be a good time to ask the Lord to put grace inside us. And if there's someone or something that's calling forth our service, tonight might be a good night to say, Lord, I want to do this for another, out of gratitude of what you have done for me. That God's grace and God's love, lavished upon us, can fill our hearts and flow through us into the world. Take and eat, take and drink, for as I have done, so now you must do for one another. God bless you all.